the ADC, that's the African Democratic Congress, has rejected the revised 2027 election timetable released by the INEC, warning that the new schedule could make it difficult for opposition parties to participate effectively. And now to give us more insight on this, we're joined by Convener Coalition for Good Governance, and that's Mr. Nelson Ekujumi. Mr. Ekujumi, it's good to have you. Good evening to you. Earlier, I asked about, the African Democratic Congress, ADC, and how it has rejected the revised 2027 elections timetable released by INEC. And what are your thoughts on their move by rejecting this revised timetable?
Well, good evening. Thank you for having me. The ADC have the right to reject or accept the electoral timetable set by INEC. But you and I know for free that the powers to put out the notices for election, pre-election and the election issue, election proper notices resides constitutionally with INEC. So whether the ADC rejects or not, it does not change or does not detract from the fact that INEC has played its role as enshrined in the Constitution and the Electoral Act. So the ADC, as one out of so many parties we have in place, does not have a right to determine the legitimacy or the authority of what INEC has done. You should not forget that when INEC released the timetable earlier on, there was this hue and cry over by various interests that the election was going to be held within the period of fasting, the Ramadan fast in 2027, as well as maybe the Christian fasting. And because of that, the National Assembly now had to tinker with the timeline for election activities from 360 days to 300 days. And that is why we have this revised timetable. So this revised timetable does not give any party an advantage or disadvantage. Is in tandem with the provisions of the law, because we are a country governed by laws.
And what impact could the disputed timetable have on political inclusiveness? And I mean, because those were issues that was raised, right? Regarding participation and also the multi-party participation in the 2027 elections.
Well, the fact of the matter is that the preparation for the next election started right from when the last one ended. If you remember, when the 2023 election was conducted and concluded, immediately after that election, INEC released a tentative timetable of when election we hold in 2027. So any political party, anybody thinking about inclusiveness, I don't know what can be more inclusive than you giving a 4-year notice, only for you to now come up and when you have identified the appropriate time, somebody or a political party is claiming that the timetable will not allow them to field candidates. Well, a political party contesting election like I know, and which I have been a keen observer of, is a serious business. It's not a business for part-timers. At every point in time, a political party continue to oil its machinery towards enhancing its capacity for the next election. So if any party is coming up and saying, look, this timetable will not allow us to prepare, it means that party has never been a party. It was something else.
Could concerns, besides preparation or not, right, there are also issues of small parties, because one of the amendments that was put there was the issue of registration, digital registration, or digitalizing its registers when it comes to members across 36 states. And the timeline for that, ADC is concerned about that and said that the timeline is short and many parties may not have the money for it. I mean, when we look at how the Electoral Act has been amended, it means money, money, and more money. So could the concerns raised by the ADC influence other opposition parties to demand changes to the timetable, especially when it regards memberships?
Well, I think we should wait to when we get to the river, we'll know how to cross it, whether we are going to jump, whether we are going to use a canoe, whether we are going to use a ferry. As that today, it is only the ADC that has spoken against the revised timetable. And like I said earlier on, the revised timetable is in tandem with the revised 2026 Electoral Act. So if the ADC is kicking, good luck to them. The issue about digitalized party registration has always been, an issue that the INEC has always had the engagement with political party on. Don't forget that immediately the last election ended in 2023, INEC at the national level, as well as the various states offices of INEC, they have been meeting the stakeholders regularly. As I speak to you, I work with a civil society organization. I can tell you that for free that we hold meetings with INEC, the Lagos State Office, every quarter. Since 2023, we just held one on the 28th of January 2026. You can cross-check that fact. And I know for free that INEC has also held it with security agencies, even with political parties.
All right.
The one we held on January 28th was held with political parties and civil society organizations.
All right.
So this issue of digitalized party registration, INEC has always acted on it. So when INEC comes up with its timeline that you have to submit, if anybody tells you that he or she is hearing for the first time,
all right,
they are not being, honest. They are being, economical with the truth.
All right. I must say thank you for taking out the time to join us, Mr. Nelson Ekujumi there, just giving us a bit of insight.